With all that we have found, we don't know if it's enough to ensure the safety of this little girl. But before we get started, I need to explain that we're going to be talking about two different homes. One, a home the state deemed a loving and safe, permanent environment for Liberty. The other, I've uncovered, is a home with convicted criminals with crimes ranging from alleged sexual abuse to violent beatings. Right now, this is Liberty's home. It's a sound of a happy and healthy little girl.
Liberty. Yeah. Right here. Right here. Right here.
Those first words and first steps that forever carry a child into your heart.
Hello.
But this isn't how her life story began. Baby Liberty Bell Phillips, born on the 4th of July in Jacksonville, addicted. This court order obtained by the I-Team shows at birth, Liberty tested positive for methadone and THC. At just 4 months old, Liberty was found neglected at a trolley station. Her mother passed out nearby. 5 days later, Liberty was found in her car seat in a public bathroom. Her mother passed out beside her with a cocktail of pills in her system. Their home at that time, a local safe house. To escape this man, Bradley Hornback, the baby's abusive father, recently arrested for beating Liberty's mother, Davida Phillips. The I-Team found Bradley Hornback has a documented history of abusing women. In 2009, arrested for beating another woman while also pregnant with his child. Arrested again in 2011 for beating that same woman in front of their child. This police report says he became enraged over where the toddler was sleeping. The Department of Children and Families stepped in for that child and stepped in again for baby Liberty.
Right here. Right here.
Holding her here and helping her with those first steps, her aunt and uncle, Ginger and Keenan Phillips.
She's very happy. She's energetic. She's boisterous. She's independent. She's independent, and all that within a year. Come on, I can only imagine what she's going to be like in 4.
DCF placed Liberty with the couple soon after she was taken from her mother, who is Keenan's sister. And for 10 months, this was Liberty's home. Their own son, Colton, thinking of her as his little sister.
We weren't a foster home. We were a family.
We never thought of ourselves as a foster home.
No.
Liberty's court-appointed guardian ad litem agreed. We obtained this confidential report from sources showing Liberty in September was thriving there, writing, Liberty currently has a significant relationship with her uncle and aunt that grows stronger daily. The GAL would like the child to remain in her current placement until Liberty can be adopted by her maternal uncle and aunt, finding they had a loving and parental-like relationship. What's more, the guardian ad litem found Davida Phillips and Bradley Hornback's parental rights should be terminated because each posed physical, mental, and emotional endangerment to Liberty. But by the next week, everything changed. Those cries are Liberty's, as she's being ripped from her home with Ginger and Keenan Phillips and moved to another.
My legs just buckled. And I told that little girl that I would protect her.
Liberty's biological parents, a drug addict and a convicted abuser who were found by the state to be a harm to their baby, suddenly filed motions to surrender their parental rights and move Liberty permanently to Bradley's brother, Christopher Hornback. With a stroke of a pen, the judge approved Christopher Hornback and his wife Shauna to adopt Liberty. It is a home where Bradley Hornback would later have greater access to his daughter, a possible loophole around the guardian ad litem that found to reunify Liberty with her father could jeopardize her physical safety and well-being and Liberty's emotional security with his lack of concern. Yet no one objected before the judge to the placement with the Hornback family on Liberty's behalf. Not the guardian ad litem attorney, not the DCF attorney, which is frustrating for Ginger.
The whole reason you're taking these parental rights is so they're not in her life anymore, so they can't destroy her. But you let them choose her fate?
What's even more, the I-Team uncovered, Christopher Hornback had an outstanding warrant for his arrest in Duval County on the very day the Duval County judge awarded him custody of Liberty. That warrant, too, tied to domestic violence. The victim, his wife, Shauna. He was arrested for abusing her back in 2013. In this report, Shauna filled out a document called a threat assessment. In it, she said Chris Hornback was increasingly violent, had struck her 1 to 5 times over that last year, and had access to a gun and a history of domestic violence. The I-Team found even more disturbing reports on Chris Hornback from 2009, also here in Duval County. A police report states he climbed onto the porch of his ex-girlfriend's home armed with a razor and told police, quote, "She's gonna get it." The woman told police they had been broken up for 2 years at that point. Months later, Hornback was arrested again for trespassing near that same woman's home and also charged with resisting an officer. Despite a pile of charges and misdemeanor convictions, it appears Chris Hornback was legally eligible to adopt Liberty. Even though that burglary on his ex-girlfriend was initially a felony charge, it was also later reduced to a misdemeanor, something Ellen Seiler, who has worked with domestic violence victims for 20 years now, says happens all the time.
It is sometimes a hard case to prosecute because it often happens behind closed doors.
What's more, we found the Hornback family has a documented history of domestic violence. Their father, Christopher Wayne Hornback, arrested 10 times for domestic violence, terroristic threats, assault, battery, burglary, and escape. He has legal access to Liberty under the new arrangement, as does Shauna Hornback's brother, Devin Johnson, who will be Liberty's new uncle. Why is that significant? We obtained this police report showing Johnson was arrested at 17, accused of felony lewd and lascivious acts on a child, which was later reduced to felony battery. He was accused of taking out his penis and touching a child with it. That child victim, this police report states, a child in the temporary custody of none other than Chris and Shauna Hornback, Liberty's new adoptive parents. And the crime happened in the exact same house where Liberty now lives. We went there twice to ask Shauna and Chris Hornback their side of the story.
We are naming you in a story.
Shauna shut the door on us instead. We took our findings to Patty Parker, a family law attorney in Jacksonville, not connected with Liberty's case.
To me, this seems like an outcry. A baby is being placed in a home where we know there are known criminals and known drug abusers. Why?
The Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state of Florida give people a right to privacy. The right to privacy encompasses parenting decisions.
A guilty conviction for domestic violence on your spouse less than 3 years ago
may not have been a disqualifier under the statute.
How is that not a disqualifier?
I don't know. You have to ask your legislator. They passed the laws. The judge can't make up the law. As long as there's a positive home study, the parents get to make that choice.
That home study is confidential under Florida law, so I can't tell you definitively what was in it. We do know there were 3 done in this case in total. 2 of them done by an organization called Daniel Kids. That's an agency that DCF contracts with right here in Jacksonville. A 3rd by a private agency tied to Liberty's adoption. We know the Hornbacks passed the last 2 home studies, but we also know they failed the first. The reason, well, that's explained on a single sheet of paper I was able to obtain. This is Devin Johnson's criminal history report from DCF. It says Devin Johnson was legally not allowed to live in the same home as Liberty, but it doesn't explain the criminal reason as to why. Remember, we know he's accused of felony lewd and lascivious on a child from a separate police report. We don't know for sure if DCF or the judge knew any of the details that we have. The second home study did approve the Hornbacks for visitation with Liberty, despite Christopher Hornback's rap sheet. His DCF criminal history record, reading only in part, It is recommended the child protective investigator review information and discuss the appropriateness of this placement. This is all that was presented to those deciding Liberty's fate, not the active warrant and not the details of his crimes. But shouldn't all of this family's criminal history, the domestic violence, and the alleged sexual abuse, all which was public information I uncovered, also all be considered by those deciding what is safe for Liberty? I spent more than a week trying to track down Liberty's mother, who is homeless.
Hey, it's Lindsay Gardner with Channel 4.
I wanted to get her side of the story and ask why she gave up her parental rights and asked a judge to place her daughter with this family.
I was also threatened by her father.
She agreed to talk to me if I concealed her identity because she's in hiding from Liberty's father, Bradley Hornback.
I was 4 months pregnant with our daughter. He kneed me in the face. He's almost killed me twice. And I felt like if I didn't sign her over, it very well could happen again. And now that I'm trying to get her moved back, if he catches me, he will kill me.
You're really in fear for your
I
life?
am dead in fear of my life.
You're crying so hard right now.
Because he don't stop. Once he starts to hit me, he don't stop.
Do you think Ginger and Keenan are good parents?
They're excellent, and their son looks at my daughter like it's his sister. It was the worst thing I ever done, was signing her over to them. I ruined my baby's life, and possibly mine too. I want them to investigate this to the fullest and to know that I did not sign my baby over willingly. I don't want my daughter to be raised to be a weak woman. I don't want her to be raised to be beat on herself.
We asked Seiler, the CEO of Hubbard House, a domestic violence shelter here in Jacksonville, to explain what could compel a mother to sign over her own child to a family of abusers. Is it possible that a domestic violence victim may sign a document they later regret?
Oh, absolutely. If someone's living with a violent person, someone who's going to try to control them through intimidation, threats, or violence, that person may need to do whatever they have to do to feel safe.
Do you feel like the Department of Children and Families should consider all levels of domestic violence when placing children with parents?
I think when you're trying to make the best decision for a child, you need to look at as many factors as you can. Children living in homes with domestic violence, it is going to impact them in many ways. About half of the kids are going to experience violence as well.
For Ginger and Keenan, it's all almost just too much to bear.
Because she's not safe. She doesn't have better odds where she's at.
Today, Liberty's nursery sits just as she left it, in their home, a home they hope Liberty will be returned to, safe and sound, if only the court is listening.
Help Liberty have a chance to be somebody. You know, she's had a rough beginning. Let's please someone help her get further ahead in life. Help her have a chance, because her chance is right here in this house.